Hello everyone, welcome to Rob's Rogues in the Batman universe, and today we're taking a look at another DC Comics multiverse. This is the Batman Arkham City, the armored batsuit, or from the armored edition that was made for the Wii. Initially, I was not going to buy the Arkham City Batman, the standard Batman. He really looked kind of chunky, and this one is kind of that way, but the armor really kind of helps it. And this has been kind of a harder one to find. And initially, when Mattel showed this at a toy fair, probably almost a year ago or so, that this was the Batman I thought actually looked pretty cool before I realized it was 3 3/4. And this one is actually pretty good. So if you were going to buy any of the Batman from this multiverse, we already saw the Michael Keaton, but if you were going to get one, I would look for this one, the armored suit. Just in package, I think this one looks really pretty decent. So the pack, we won't spend much time on the package. Everything is going to be exactly the same. The wave here is a little bit different. We have Bane, which absolutely looks horrible. Azrael, I think, looks horrible. Mr. Freeze is the only one that I think actually is pretty decent. The card on the back is a little bit different. It says real name Bruce Wayne, high-tech gear, battle armored tech, B-A-T, ha ha ha. Armored batsuit, cowl with detective vision, grapple, sonic batarangs, remote electric grapple gun, and cryptic sequencer. And you get none of those in this. So we won't spend any more time on the packaging. If you want to see it, pause it, and you can read at your leisure there. But we'll be right back, and we'll get a closer look at the Batman Arkham City Armored Batsuit, or most people know this as the Wii version of the video game, where they kind of gave this armored edition to the video game. So we'll be right back. Okay, not that I regret picking it up. I think he looks cool for what he is and the size he is. He comes with these little electrodes here, and we have seen these a lot of times on some Flash figures, and most recently I think the DC Universe Unlimited Flash, the White Lantern Flash. So DC or Mattel is just basically reusing these over and over again. So I think currently the ones that I have right now I've put on Shazam because I thought he looked kind of cool. So but yeah, it's exactly the same. We've seen these multiple times, so it's nothing new. And they didn't even shrink them down. It's the exact same thing. All I did is recolor them. So now we have multiple colors of these. So I'll take these off. That's just where they go to go up on the shock gloves, as it were. So before we get into some other things, we'll kind of, I mean, up close on camera here, he's not all that bad, but you can start to see some of the proportions if you take a closer look at him. His head looks too small, like it's just all bunched in, and I think his legs are also a little too short as well. It's a rubber cape, unlike the 89 Batman, so it's more of like the traditional Mattel cape. There's the product information and stuff on the back, and it's nice that they put this nice white right here, 31830B, and you can read that. Not read it, but you can just tell that it's there, you know. So it's something probably with a black Sharpie marker I'm going to color that out. So again, some of the choices why they put those things there. I mean, they could put it in the crease back here, or, you know, on the bottom of his feet. I mean, feet, there's 2 peg holes. We didn't look at the 89 Batman, which I think I still have him off to the side here. See, there's the 89 Batman. They put the product information there, but they decided, oh, we're going to do treads on the bottom. So it is what it is. But you'll see once I get to do some other comparisons where this figure really kind of fails. And I just don't know if Mattel entirely knows what they're doing half the time. I mean, again, as a figure by himself, he doesn't look horrible. He just looks a little stubby all the way around at the same time. But he, by far, is the better of the 2 Batmans that you can currently buy from this Arkham City line. So the head just does a standard rotation back and forth, no up and down. Arms are on little hinge ball and socket here, so that you can do a full 360. the elbows really, or the elbows, the cape really starts to hinder it a little bit, but one is a little bit easier to move around than the other. Again, I'm sorry with the small figure trying to keep him in frame here. As you saw, the elbow bends right there. See the little blue plate that would light up on the video game if you have the Wii version of it. So kind of has a silver gauntlet there. The hand does rotate, but not very well due to the gauntlet sticking out. He has one closed fist and one open fist. Not that they gave him an accessory to put in there, but if we have the 89 Batman, put the grapple gun in there, then he can have something. If you wanted to. He does turn at the waist, above the belt, and a little bit below the belt. Not much, unless he's not meant to, and there's just a little bit of play due to the little rubber disc that is the belt. The T-jointed hips, so the legs can go out. He can get the splits very, very well if I have him in frame. The legs go forward, forward a little bit, so he could get in a seated Batmobile, which we will talk about in a second, and will go back just ever so slightly. He has a mid-thigh cut, a single joint bend at the knee, about said elbow, and nothing at the boot, and then the hard plastic cape. Now, I mentioned Batmobile. Mattel, probably a week or so ago, announced the Batman Arkham Knight Batmobile that they're making into a car that's going to fit Batman. The Batman that they currently put with it is the Arkham City Batman, which would be the other one. It was kind of the reason why I bought this one, because it kind of looks like the Arkham Knight Batman with the plating and things like that. So unless Mattel hasn't currently made the Arkham Knight Batman to go with the Arkham Knight Batmobile, maybe they just threw that Batman in there. But again, this Batman it's funny. I mean, not saying this is the worst $6 that I ever bought. I really wanted it. I liked the way that it looked, but having it now, you'll see why in a second. Let's do some comparisons, and you can kind of see some of this for yourself. What? I know Mr. Freeze is a little bit taller, but for crying out loud, Mattel, he's a giant. It's like Mr. Freeze's Bane here. Even Mr. Freeze's head is bigger than Batman's head. I'm not talking just the dome. I'm talking his literal head. So here's the size of the two. Now, somebody could say in the video game that Mr. Freeze is a little bit taller. Now, I don't have Azrael, and I'm not going to get Azrael, so I would be curious to see if Azrael is the same height as Batman. That might be a little bit more forgiving, and if Bane is the same height as Mr. Freeze, that could be a little bit forgiving, but just in proportion size, I think this Batman looks like a kid going to a Halloween costume. We'll bring him in a little bit closer. I mean, just in the size of the heads, and the dome isn't doing anything weird, making the head look bigger. It just is. So this is the same universe. In your multiverse, these two belong together, and this Batman is so tiny. So, yeah, on the shelf, I'm going to have these two together. Yeah, it's going to look a little funny. So let's take a look at another figure. Let's get these two a little bit closer here. Take a look at another two figures here. The 89 Batman we just looked like. Now, I would have thought Mattel would have said, okay, this is the size. If this is the size you're going with, fine. But then you make this one bigger. So I don't know if they thought, yeah, this one looks a little bit smaller, so we'll make this one bigger. It's just like we're just throwing a dice and going, I hope we get a 7. Oh, it's a 12. So, oh well. I mean, that doesn't make any sense what I just said. And neither does Mattel's manufacturing tactics. I might have talked myself out of this figure now, having looked at it. He's going to go on my shelf, but it's not going to be one that I'm going to be so proud to have bought. And granted, it's only $6, so I'm telling myself, hey, it was only $6. But you take this $6 and this $6 and this $6. Hey, I could have got a DC Collectibles figure. I want to show one more comparison real quick. And here is Mattel's Arkham City Batman that they made. This was in the 2-pack with Two-Face initially. Then they did a recolored one that came with Catwoman, and then did a recolored one that was black and white with Catwoman, and another recolored one that was the Toys R Us in the 1970s Batman color scheme. So Justin, we were talking on the Rogue show about, well, they can shrink the proportions. They really shrank the proportions. Batman has no neck here, and he clearly has a neck. Now this Batman was made larger. Some people did like this Batman, but they were saying that he's not in the scale with the DC Universe Classics figures. And the reason that Batman is taller is so that he could go be with this Batman or the other figures from the DC Collectibles. So if you didn't buy the DC Collectibles Batman, but you bought the DC Collectibles Catwoman from Arkham City, then if you had this one, the height scale would match up. So that's why Mattel jumped to the DC Collectibles size there. So we'll pull that Batman back out. So I just kind of wanted to show you what Mattel was capable of. I think this is a decent looking Batman. It's not horrible. Yes, he's out of size, and there's some things his arms won't go all the way together. But this one, if they would have shrunk this guy to this size, the proportions might have worked, but he looks really small. So, all right, final thoughts on this guy. Do I recommend buying him? I don't know. That's going to be up to your discretion. I guess a way to get it through to Mattel that they're wasting a lot of their time and resources is to not be buying these little things, and I have one more figure yet to review. This isn't something I normally do and go, well, I'm just going to buy a figure just for the sake of reviewing it, then I'm going to sell it on eBay. I'm going to happily add this to my collection. It is not one of the best figures in my collection. I do have some other ones that are much worse, but at the time I bought them, I thought they were pretty good, and just over time, like the Toy Biz Batman that we saw in the previous Multiverse, the 89 Batman, you could kind of see just over the course of time that the figures were supposed to be getting better. And I feel like this one took a step back. So I think the initial preview images were better than the final product than we actually got. But still, out of the two Batman, this is my favorite of the two, if I can say that. And if Mattel does do the Arkham Knight Batmobile, which it looks like they're going to, this might be a good figure to have to go with it, as he will look more in the Arkham Knight suit. So that was a long explanation of why I bought a figure. So we'll end it right here. Today we've been taking a look at the Multiverse Batman Arkham City, the Armored Edition Batman that was in the Wii version of the Arkham City video game. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the Batman Universe signing off, saying we will see you guys next time.